Here we go.
Hey, Matt, how are you doing?
Woo!
That was an intense interview, let me tell you, and I think you did a fantastic job because there were obviously some disagreements between you and him, and you did a very good job of explaining your position and just coming back at the claims that he was making. I think you did a very, very good job.
Thank you, and I'll just say thank you so much, Jayme, and I'll just say this: the reason we do the show, this is exactly why, is to have these type of I would say professional discussions. These are not like, we're not throwing stuff at each other. This is not we're not talking about some Zionist crazy dishonest discussion. This is one that this is how you do it. And this is what I want you guys to understand: the difference between winning an argument and going for understanding. There's a way we can do that. And we might have actually hit a point of understanding on something. I think so. Yeah. We might have. We'll have to see. But I do think that approach is important. And we need to apply that to friends and family members and anybody that we've had fallouts with. How we don't have to change each other's minds, but we can go for understanding. Where are you coming from? And then maybe we'll find something we align on. And some would call that, some could say that's soft. No, you got to go hardcore on everything. No, I'm not compromising my beliefs. I'm just leaving space because we want to know where you're coming from. It's very important that we have that ability to go for understanding. So I just wanted to put that up front. But Jayme, yeah, we'll.
And the best part was you were attacking the arguments. You guys weren't making any personal attacks, which made that a really, really good discussion to listen to. And when you showed him that Palantir clip, you really made him think, because he hadn't seen that before. So it was really good that you did show that. And I'm really happy that he's probably gonna look more into that too going forward.
No, he sounded legitimately interested and concerned about that, and that's awesome. That's great. Because there's that's what it's all about, the curiosity, and we have to be curious. So
that's why we have to talk to people.
Yeah, exactly.
And his point about calling this the homeless Americans wasn't really off base. I mean, we talked about that behind the scenes. It's just you're coming from the left.
Yeah, it's not.
That's why the show is what it is.
And guys, if you're just watching on the segment uploaded and you missed the live, this is it's a big show we just did. It's 2 interviews back to back. We had Dr. Mary Talley Bowden on with us with Jay Scott, and we just got off of another discussion with Casey Fleming with our other co-host Stephanie Pierucci. So it's been back-to-back group discussions, and we threw a little Hollywood in there too, and we also had a little top censored news up at the front. So a lot of stuff today. I'll pass it back to you, Jayme, and let's see if we can highlight.
I'll just say that interview you just did. The comments were flying, and I got probably twice as many comments from that than I do from the rest of the show, but I tried to pick the best ones. So there was a lot of good ones, but I just kind of had to slim it down. She warns, wait, they educate. This was at the very beginning of the show when you're showing that clip about the woman talking to Piers Morgan. So wait, they educate their Israeli kids to hate and be scared of Arabs though. So a lot of what she was saying was the reason I picked this comment is it's illustrating that a lot of what that woman was saying was projection, and they project onto what the people they hate. And they say, you guys are doing this thing that we're actually doing. And I think that's where it came from. But I loved that clip. I think Piers you're rooting for Piers, which we don't do very often over here, but I think he did a good job.
And to be clear on that woman, she speaks up a lot. That's not the first time we've seen her. She's called the godmother of the Israeli settler movement, Daniela Wise. And she was featured on the film, the Settlers film, which had a very short run on BBC before BBC had to pull it because Louis, the director, was being accused of anti-Semitism in his film. When it's just
all he was doing was showing Israelis and their opinions.
You turn the camera on them and they talk, and just let them talk. And so, yes, Piers did that. That's all you have to do, Piers. Sometimes just let them talk, and then go, wait. What did you just say?
That's right.
Yeah, and that's it. And you did it. Yeah. Good job, Piers. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you were talking about Egypt, and this was the second censored news of the week topic. And I wanted to comment on Zai Hawass, who's the guy who's in charge of all the archaeology in Egypt. And he's been in charge since the 90s. And this guy, I think he's the worst. And he's been one of the biggest roadblocks to keeping progress from occurring in Egyptology, and he is the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
And he denies a lot of these other theories, like that would rewrite human history. And it wasn't really until Göbekli Tepe was discovered where he had to start acknowledging some of the stuff that people were talking about, what they were finding in Egypt. And then if somebody found something that contradicted what we had already established as human history, he would come and shut it down. But anyway, we've known about those tunnels underneath the Sphinx since at least the 90s. And there were people even who talked about it way before that, they said there's stuff there. But we had started getting confirmation in the 90s, and he's the one blocking it. And now we've got more hard proof about those tunnels that are there. And people have been wanting to explore those things for like at least 30 years. So maybe now we can start moving forward with it.
Yeah, and I realized that we just didn't have enough time with Jay on that, but he's been looking into this big time. And we're just starting the conversation, but I think we need to do a whole entire segment on this. And I say at least a half hour coverage. It's not.
At least. And it's such an interesting topic too.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been looking into this one myself for years. It's
fascinating, man.
Very fascinating. Because I actually kind of subscribe to the pyramids being much older than ancient Egypt as we know it. I think they go back to a more advanced civilization that probably existed before the last global cataclysm, and they're they're a holdover from a time before civilization was basically wiped out and had to restart.
Yeah.
So, but that's a whole nother discussion.
we gotta do a super chat. We have a super chat.
You have one. I think
we have one. Yeah, we should put that one on. Here we go. This is Pasta to go. You want to read that one?
Okay. He said, Casey Fleming, just another spook pushing for war for profit for the MIC. China hawks are ridiculous. China has been involved in hot wars since the 1970s. I think, I was getting the vibe there. He definitely is a China hawk. Okay. But I think he really believes that China is evil. He said it multiple times. He really believes that China is the problem. And I was also in the comments over on Rumble saying, who is the enemy? And it's like, my opinion is that our government is way worse than China. Not to say that China is perfect and they don't have their own issues, but we're the ones doing all the bad stuff. We're the ones who do the rules-based order, which is we're going to do whatever we want and you guys just have to go along with it.
Yeah.
And we're the ones who do the things that make the world suck. And I think our government is the real enemy. And China might have its problems too, but we can't really do anything about China's government. But we as Americans, surely we should be able to do something about our own government.
So look, I appreciate the chime in and thanks for the $5 there, Pasta. And it does kick you to and you guys know you throw in the super chat, you get kicked to the front of the line. So that's a good thing. So that's why we do that. And I'll just piggyback off you on this. Like, obviously, I think everybody in the chat agreed that obviously the focus or whatever you want to call it, obsession or just whatever is blinders on or just on China. That's what it was. And so for my approach in this discussion was to say, hold on, whoa. Before we deep dive into China, let's talk about the system we're in right now. And I think that was the best use of the time because you're not going to talk somebody out of the thing that they're focusing on, but you can say, hey, listen, if you want to talk to all of these people in the anti-war space, all these people in the we're fighting censorship every day. We're fighting all of these. We can't even begin this discussion if we don't start there, because that's where we are now, is here. And I think that was accomplished. So again, thanks, Pasta. But if I'd gone that direction, I don't think it would have been as
I agree
at all.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think trying to talk about communism with him would be like you could have a whole 2-hour discussion just on that, because he's got that anti-communism programming and indoctrination that he's probably lived with his entire life, and he's never broken free of it. And I recognize that. I used to be like that too. So
you did. Okay, so you recognize.
Yeah, I mean, I was a proud capitalist, and very anti-communist.
Okay.
I used to be, and then I went and learned about communism. Like, because I realized the people who taught me about communism were people who absolutely hated communism. So I'm like, I need to learn about it from people who don't hate communism.
I think Jimmy Dore's take on it is pretty on point, and it's very simple. It's just this: If communism is so bad, why do we have to spend all of our effort and time and time again working to stop it? Just to show the American people that that doesn't work. If it is so bad, why don't we just let it fail on its own?
Let it run its course and fail, and they'll say, "Oh, this doesn't work," and they'll turn to our system.
And there's
because our
no
system's so
example of
great,
it.
right?
I want to see an example of it. Show it to me so we can work off of that. And we can say, oh, this is really bad. I still think what we're in is bad, but at least we'll know for sure that that's also bad. And then we can think of another way, but we're never going to have an honest discussion if you are sabotaging the thing that you claim fails on its own. If you're the one failing it, how do we know? We know how this thing works. We're the thing we're in right now isn't working, and what we're in right now is not communism. So we know that
the way we were told it's supposed to work.
Yeah. So that's
I will say what the communism thing. We do have an example that is kind of working, and it's called Vietnam, because we can't screw with them anymore after they won the war. So that is the closest thing to a communist government on the planet, and since they've been left alone for like 50 years now, it's kind of working. Now they've got problems, like every country has problems, but they're moving forward as communists. They do use capitalism because they have to have trade and interact with everybody else, but they're mostly communist country, and it seems to be working out in a lot of ways. But anyway,
thanks.
So this was about your guest earlier, Dr. Mary Tyler Bowden, and he was making the point was they were trying to buy her silence, and we already talked about that because she was offered, like, she could have walked away with $1.5 million or something like that, and she turned it down because she has integrity and decided that the truth was way more important. So I applaud her for that, and that gives her a lot of credibility for us when we were speaking to her, and I think a lot of her words had a lot of weight. I had a lot of questions too. That you got one of them in, and I was really happy you got that. But
hey, I wasn't able to share this with her because we already were talking about, so there was no reason to put this up on the screen. But I thought this was awesome with this comment because the American Academy of Pediatrics tweeted this out. This was just like, I think this was just yesterday. They said, oh, pediatricians do not profit off of vaccines. In fact, most pediatricians either break even or even lose money when they offer vaccines. Blah blah blah. Misleading parents about doctors' motivations put children's health at risk, and so it's disruptive. Blah, 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 blah. And of course, Mary Bowden fires back. If I had vaccinated, and she's telling them you're wrong. And then look at this data; it's right here. This is what she was talking about on that clip. So you guys, if you can see it for yourself, this was Anthem. They are the provider of Blue Cross and Blue Shield, which she was talking about on that clip before we brought her in. And it's showing you these two time periods in September of 21 and just at the end December 21. So there's these two time periods. Now look, I'm gonna go for it because they're saying this is the actual incentive program. It's called COVID-19 Vaccine Provider Incentive Program. You want to see the breakdown? Here it is. Look at that. You can qualify for a bonus if 30% of your members are vaccinated. You get a $20 bonus per vaccinated member. 40%, $45 bonus per. 50%, $70 per. 60%, $100 per. 75. So if you get up to 75%, you're getting. So this is retroactive. So then you get it for each and every one of them. And then look at the one of the. This is crazy. So then final incentive. So this is the same thing. Just times it by 5, I guess. Now you're at 30% is 100. Up to 75%, 250. So both pay scales of two different incentive programs. You can imagine, do the math. That's where you get 6,000 patients equaling. That's how you get it. You equal the 1.5 million amount that she got. Now look, and I think Jamie's going to come. There we are. And I'll just follow up and say, now that we know that happened with COVID, we now know it's happening with everything. All these pediatricians. And they're trying to act like, no, they struggle to pay. Jayme, they struggle to pay their rent, those pediatricians. They really
They break even. They barely break even, Matt. She's able to talk about it because she didn't. This is why
they lie to parents. You have I see you. Oh, you don't have the Hep B. You don't have the Hep. Oh, you got to get the Hep B because your kid might come out of the womb and your kid might want to start using drugs and you can't stop them because they're right and they might be doing heroin. If they're doing heroin, they might get Hep. Are you effing kidding me? Hep B, F off with that. Get it. Get the F out of here.
That's something you shouldn't be using until they're adults. I mean,
Yep.
doing vaccines for until
Yep.
they're adults. And she's able to talk about it because she didn't participate in the program. There's probably a lot of other doctors that kind of want to, but they know they're going to lose everything.
Yep.
And you need money. You got to pay the rent, and they're not gonna give that up. So, but thankfully there are people like her who had the integrity to stand up and do what's right instead of just take the money like most everybody else did.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on. Next comment was from Leslie. It's Leslie on Rumble. It is 12:58.
Okay, got it.
Thank you, Dr. Bowden, for sharing this. Not many would. So it was just there weren't a lot of comments. I think it's because early in the show we hadn't really gotten the audience there yet. But she was just a very good interview. And I think the more important thing was that Dr. Bowden was talking about some of the what the cases really look like when they come into the office. And I think that's important because a lot of people don't, they might be vaccine injured and not know it. And because the signs and symptoms of what a vaccine injury is aren't really out there, and there's different kinds of vaccine injuries. So I think sharing what that is very, very important, and to get that out there to everybody.
Thank you, Airways. Yes, did the CP name the show The Homeless Left? Yeah, that's probably what he's thinking. That's what he was thinking. So he was trying to give us hey, by the way, it's not a bad suggestion. I just happen to think that Homeless Left's a little better for now. We might evolve the name, but I think this idea of America, it's about humanity. That's really, so we talk about the left. We have values that were stolen from us by a party that claimed to be about what we believed in. Then we noticed that we share similar values with people on the right. And so we're just letting people identify that we came from this place that we thought was something that it's not. And now you can come from a place that you thought was something it's not. We can meet together in a homeless arena. But yeah, if somebody else starts a homeless rights show, that'd be awesome. We could do a team up. But no, it's not about homeless American. It's not really that. We're talking about humanity. We're talking about, look at all the other people we're hurting and destroying and killing and murdering and maiming. These people matter. It's not just America, right? It's humanity. So that's where we're at. And we just want people to know that's how we identify where we came from. But now we're here and we're open and we're ready to engage with whoever wants to engage with us.
Yeah, what does it mean for my body? I shall ask the internet. Be right back. I think they were talking about, this was during the Dr. Bowden interview, and I think they were talking about iodized salt and non-iodized salt. And and that was kind of going along with the a parallel discussion with the mRNA, where we were talking about what does it do to your body? And there was a lot of discussion there as well. Like, well, if you're using mRNA in other things, are we going to see the same type of reactions? Not for COVID shots, but for something else, and that uses mRNA. Is this still a risk? And
yeah,
I think so. But I mean, I'm not.
I think there's nothing worse than an injection, but it's being in our food is awful. Being in everything, it's all awful. But I do think that the injection gets right to, which is why people shoot up. That the heroin you shoot up. When you shoot up a drug, it has a bigger effect, right? So it's the getting it into the bloodstream. There's nothing worse than that. But we have to absolutely, if this is going to turn up in all of our products and all the food we eat, I mean, we're pretty screwed here. We're pretty screwed.
But with those drugs, it's like they burn out of your system pretty quick. With his mRNA shots, we're talking about the antibodies still being in your body like years later.
Yeah,
that's very worrisome. And I want to know too. Is this a problem where it's just people having effects because of the original shots, or are these people who are the people getting the boosters that's constantly, re-energizing this thing in your body? There's way too much profits to be making off these vaccines. They don't care if they hurt some people. That's the big problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we showed that too with the $1.5 million that she turned down to come so that she can talk about this. And this is why we're still talking about it years after the fact, and it's not going to go away because they're still making money. And I just can't trust a company pushing drugs on me when they have a huge profit incentive to do so.
Yeah.
So the system has a death grip on everyone. If they speak out, their expensive education is made useless and they can't pay it back. You are forced to do whatever the industry demands. And this, I think, was in a transition going from the Dr. Bowden interview, and we were starting to talk a little bit about Epstein stuff. So how can you have a vote to stop Epstein releases in your house, but yet Trump says it was a hoax? Nothing to see here, folks. So this was
I don't think we're
talking
at.
about the pedophilia stuff, the PDF
Oh, yeah.
files,
Okay.
which is what the code we should be using on YouTube is PDF files.
But we just
But
say,
yeah, we got Congress
pedo?
voting
Can we say
to,
pedo? We can say
huh?
pedo. Can
Well,
we say?
you probably shouldn't. I know
We
a lot
can't.
of the non-political channels will say PDF files.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah, from Adobe.
Got
That's
it.
safe.
Safe
So,
and effective. Safe and effective.
but yeah, they're gonna vote to not share this stuff. Or
Yeah.
is that what's happening? Congress is gonna do a vote, I think, on Epstein.
Yeah, they're gonna
It's
sink
not.
it.
There shouldn't be a vote.
They're
It
sinking
should
it.
have already been done.
They're sinking it.
It should be out there.
It's
Like,
over.
I mean, this. I think we know who's on the list. It's all the people telling us we don't need to see the list. Like, if you come out and defend not sharing the list, you're probably on the list. That's what way we should approach it at this point.
Yeah.
So Stephen King's out there saying, "Why do you care about the list?" Well, are you on the list, Stephen King? You probably are. That's the way I'm going to approach it from now on. You say we don't need to care about the list. You're on the list. Sorry. That's the way I'm going to look at it.
Also, people are so captured. They just are told what to feel and think, and they just go with it too. But yeah, you're right. If there's somebody of prominence, of power, they might absolutely. We should assume that they had something to do with it too. Yeah, on the list, for sure. Okay. All right.
So very likely Scientology itself intervened and is heavily censored the movie. Scientology has a lot of power influence in Hollywood and studios. This one kind of stuck out. It's probably true. That's probably why they kind of re-edited the movie the way they did. I did not like Eyes Wide Shut. I thought it was a pretty boring, awful movie. But when that clip you showed and then talking about the ending there, how they just allowed the child to go into be taken by the traffickers or into the cult. I never caught that before, but also I was kind of done with the movie at that point because it wasn't very good. But if Kubrick had actually finished it and they hadn't edited it, it might have been a better movie and I might have caught a lot more people's attention. Maybe it is something that people should be revisiting now with this new information that was shared.
I think you should watch it again, my friend. You should watch it again because
it's a boring movie though.
There's a lot of subtlety there. There's a lot of stuff, but like he said, there was the narration wasn't ever recorded, and so there's when you think about Kubrick's history with narration before Eyes Wide Shut, how about A Clockwork Orange? That's a perfectly well narrated film, which you need the narration.
He's got the script. He should just do a narrated version of it and put it out there.
I mean, he said he pulled up the script, so he has it. It hasn't been wiped from the internet, so you could.
Somebody could do it.
But it's not just the narration. They cut. That's why you don't notice the child going away at the end, because they cut out all the indicators leading up to it. So you're not focused on that. You don't even know that those two men
honestly
were cast to do that.
I didn't even know they had a kid in the movie.
So there's so much there. There's so much there, and we're talking about this underground elite ring of satanic ritualistic sex, and they just said, you know what, let's do it, but not with the kids.
And then the inference that maybe Kubrick was taken out because they didn't want the movie released as he was going to edit it.
Yeah.
That's something new that we've never suspected before, or I had never cared about. So wow. I mean, could you imagine that they killed him over that? I mean, yeah, they probably would. But I mean, we don't know. It's all alleged. It's just speculation.
So we're talking about rewatching movies. There's one more movie I recommend people to rewatch, and it's called Wag the Dog. And it's funny because it came up in discussion. If you guys know that reference of what that term is, it's who's wagging who's in charge. Is it the dog or the tail? The tail wags the dog. The movie is by Barry Levinson, and the setup is that Dustin Hoffman has to be hired as he's a Hollywood producer. He gets hired to create a fabricated storyline to manufacture consent for war, and Woody Harrelson being a a guy, a POV comes back. They do this whole story. He's a guy who lost his mind. He's out of a mental institution. They pretend he's a hero. So they created a hero, and Dustin Hoffman produces it like a movie.
Yeah. It's like isn't Armenia?
Yeah, I forget what the countries that they set up.
I think it's a country starts with an A. Yeah.
Woody Harrelson's in it. You have Willie Nelson. They hired Willie Nelson to write a song to get everyone to sing it. So, anyways, at the end of the film, he's hired by. So it's Dustin Hoffman being hired by Robert De Niro and to do this government job, and it's nothing he's ever done because Stanley Kubrick is an Academy Award. No, he's never won an Academy Award. That's the character. He's always there's no Academy Award for the producer. You got Best Picture, but you don't get an Academy Award for the producer. The last scene, he's like, he says, "We did it. Thank you very much." De Niro says, "I'll show you the door. Thank you. We'll never talk again." And he goes, "Oh, we did it. We did it. I can't wait to go home and tell my wife and that I did something that matters that got." And De Niro goes, "No. You aren't saying anything because you signed the NDA and that was the deal. You're not saying anything." He goes, "What? Yeah. What do you mean? I finally did something and made a difference and with my work." And no,
I think I remember he kept saying, "I want the credit. I want the
credit. I want." And then after, yes, that was the beautiful moment of I want that failure of I wanted the credit. That's all I wanted. No credit. After that is the end of the movie, and it tells us that he killed himself and he's dead. I'm rethinking about that. Let me tell you guys to go back and see the film again. His name is Stanley. The character's name is Stanley. And according to an internet conspiracy theory, Stanley's based on Stanley Kubrick, who might have had been recruited to do the moon landing production. And Barry Levinson knew that and was giving a shout out to Stanley Kubrick with the character of Dustin Hoffman, who then, now I'm thinking, ends up dead by suicide at the end.
But Wag the Dog came out before Eyes Wide Shut.
No. I know. I don't think that part was related to him dying on Eyes Wide Shut. Okay. I think it's related to we have to shut him up. And I don't think the film actually suggests that. I think the film actually suggests he killed himself. I'm just seeing it in a new way now. But Stanley Kubrick apparently talks about this. And if you guys go online and look for this, some are claiming it's not real. It's somebody else. Looks real to me. So you guys go look for this. It's Stanley Kubrick talking about Barry Levinson and him. They all know that the moon landing was not what you were told because it required Hollywood production. It required Hollywood production. Wag the Dog then becomes a tip of the hat or a homage to the great Stanley Kubrick, who never got credit. Anyway,
we should come back to the moon landing thing because there are some fake videos out there of that too.
I know, and that's why I didn't do a segment on it. But I just think if you're gonna go rewatch some '90s films, late '90s films, because I think that one was also late '90s. Right, you're right before Eyes Wide Shut. Go do a back to back on those two. It'd be interesting.
One more recommendation from that time period: Arlington Road.
Oh,
amazing movie, and that it just basically shows you like kind of how a psyop works. And how the protagonist is the guy they blame everything on at the end. Oh, spoiler alert. But it's a heartbreaking movie to watch. So heartbreaking. And this also came in the wake of the World Trade Center bombing from the 90s before the towers were taken out. But it's a very, very good movie. If you can get your hands on that, watch it. It's hard to find on streaming now. You might have to go other ways to find it or get a DVD or a Blu-ray, but I highly recommend that one. I think it's as good as Wag the Dog and very much overlooked. So he says, I'm betting the U.S. Intel Agency is more involved in all the illegal drug importations than the communists.
Yeah.
That's my feeling too. And that was my arguments during the whole conversation is like, our government's the bigger problem. We're the ones doing all these things that we love, that some people love to blame on the communists over there. And, I have no doubt that the communists in China they've got all our data, but the NSA has all our data too.
And
they're the ones that are going to use it to do something against us.
But
what are the Chinese going to do to us with it?
Yeah.
Like they don't care. They want to work with us and make money and do business. Our side wants to shut us up if we're trying to expose the truth or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not following in line. Well, we're going to use all this data we've collected on you and shut you down. China's not going to do that to us.
Nah.
So
No, but that's the okay. But we know this. Thanks, Fred Edward, for pointing this out. It's the thing, but this is the thing. I thought we were helping him with some advice on like, hey, if you want to connect with our space and our audience and the people in this space, there's a lot of people, and not just our show. I mean, all the other shows. You guys know, watch all the shows. Like we exist, and you're not going to have a fun time starting the conversation if you start with, we have to stop communism. That's not the stuff. You need to start with the people that have captured us here, and then we can talk about foreign entities. But if you don't acknowledge that, you don't have our attention, because this is what we're right in the middle of this. We see this every day.
And the problem is we see how China behaves.
Yeah.
And it doesn't line, their behavior with everybody else around the world doesn't line up with what they tell us China's going to do to us. Yeah. Like, yes, they do want us to stop us. They want to stop our government from doing the horrible things our government does. I do believe that, because they want to do business with us. They see us as a market of 300 million people that they can conduct business with, and they want to make money. They understand capitalism too, but they think that they can put a leash on it and stop it from taking over their government, so they can still because they have a government that still will provide for its own people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they want to be able to make money, but they're not going to let people make too much money.
Yeah.
And we don't like that. We want them to just let whoever wants to make money make as much money as they possibly can. All right. Follow-up question or comment was from Pamela Drew at 2:15. Not enough maliciousness between Washington and Wall Street. We need to blame the foreigners.
Thanks, Pamela.
Yeah. So don't blame our side. It's the other guys that are doing it. It's the same old story.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Look, he did say, hey, we're a problem too, but he's way more scared of the other guys.
Yeah.
Then he's scared of our own.
Not if you look at the look on his face, and Stephanie too, by the way. Look at the look on their faces when I played the Alex Karp clip.
That was great.
That was great.
And
it was the right look. Like you could have responded. So here's the other ways they could have responded. I'm so glad they didn't. But the other way you could respond is to be like, whatever, that's not, he was joking. And I'm glad it wasn't that. Also, you could get really angry and be like, you just cherry picked something, and I'm trying to show you. So there was no deflection, there was no anger, there was legitimate concern and curiosity, and that's what we were going for. That's exactly what we needed, and it was honest, and we needed that. So everyone knows. And Craig Basta, I love you, buddy, but this is what I was working towards, and I know he put that super chat in before I did that. But it's frustrating watching us like get him, Matt, get him. I'm telling you.
You got to set them up.
That was my story moment, right? That was my got you, but not got you. I opened you to something you didn't know. That was it. That was the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I thought that was a really good way of doing it. Next comments from Jay Scott on Twitter.
Oh, yes. Go ahead, read. This is what I was. Yes.
A very good point here. BRICS has multipolarity built into its model. They can definitely coexist with other major powers. That's why they're appealing to a lot of different nations right now. Everybody's sick of our shit. That's why they're moving to BRICS, because BRICS is saying, hey, we're going to work with you, and we're going to have a laws-based order, because we have this thing called international law, and we're going to follow it, unlike the rules-based order that takes international law and wipes their ass with it.
Yeah.
So that's what BRICS is going to do. And China is saying we're going to be part of this and be a partner to everybody, not just the rulers. They're not going to have a veto in BRICS that says, well, if China and Russia says no, we're not going to do it. Like the United States has in the UN, in international law, which we don't even subscribe to.
And it reminds me of the top of because this is so good that Jay points out BRICS, and we were on the same wavelength there. And I you know what? I might have skimmed it. I didn't read your comment, Jay, but I think my eye caught the BRICS part, and it just made me go, dude, tell him about BRICS. But you're saying the same thing I said, but I think you inspired me, because I was like, tell the guy about BRICS, and I did, and it was like, dude, come on, like you're saying that they don't want to work with. He just said that they don't want to work with anyone. They don't want to work with what the.
I mean, they're building the BRICS nations.
What are you talking about?
All about working with everybody is what they want to do. They want to work with us. They want us to be part of BRICS.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, and then I had to give him the long. I couldn't even think. Like, I was like, where do I begin with this NATO thing? Because he said NATO and America, we play by a certain set of rules. I'm like, okay,
our own rules. We don't play
Okay.
by laws.
Where should I begin with the rules that we've broken? Where do we begin?
You did a good job of that, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man.
I was like, wow, you're pulling stuff out of your butt that it's hard for me to recall all that stuff, and you're on it. I was very proud of you.
I was like ready for battle.
All right, we want to hear it, but we also know that the deep state has been trying to start a war with China over Taiwan. So he kept saying, I've got the plan. I'm telling you what's going to happen. Okay, I believe you. I believe that you say that the Chinese government they probably are doing stuff to collect our data. I absolutely believe that. But we also, all of us know this. Our government does not want to recognize that Taiwan's part of China. We support Taiwanese independence, even though we signed an agreement, a treaty with China that says that talks about the one China policy, and everybody in the world agrees to that. But we love breaking treaties. There's like hardly anything that's more American than Americans breaking treaties. We love it. That's what we do. Ask the Native Americans. We broke every treaty we ever signed with their tribes. So it doesn't matter that we have the one China policy, because we're not going to follow it. We're going to break it like we break everything else. We broke the JCPOA. We broke the Minsk Accords. We're going to break that too.
Do you think he knew about the Ukraine shit that I brought up about the Minsk Accords? And
I don't know. If he's in cybersecurity, he should know.
I mean, that was the one that we skipped over because he just went back to China. I was like, I wanted to hear something about Ukraine. So I figured, well, when I bring up Israel, I am going to just make that the thing. And I waited on that one, but I just wanted to kind of feel him out with Ukraine. I didn't get anything with Ukraine. So I just went, so you saw me come back strong with Israel, but I just thought it was interesting. He never responded to the Ukraine thing, which is exactly what Freedom Fighter is talking about here, is that this is what we do. We go into other places and we create wars. And then we do this. This is our history, and we're doing it right now. We've been doing it in Ukraine for the last 3.5 years or whatever.
Yeah, and he went. I'm going to skip over a couple of these comments.
Yeah.
We are talking, but I'm going to address them. He was talking about we have to go after TikTok. He's hard after TikTok, and our discussion in the comments was like, well, YouTube has shorts. YouTube does the same thing, and we're watching our kids on YouTube that are watching YouTube videos like just like they would watch TikTok videos. And how is your argument for going after TikTok not an argument you're going to apply to go after YouTube as well? Because they're doing the exact same thing. And so we never really were able to get to that point. But it's not just TikTok. Like, they're not the only culprits here. And
we could have spent not an hour. I could have spent half the interview on TikTok, because I know we've had this discussion with one of his colleagues. His name is Brett Hemachek. And if you guys, Stephanie mentioned at the top of the interview that Brett was a colleague of his, and I've actually worked with Brett. I actually narrated his audiobook. He's very similar to Casey. So I had practice with, and I knew his book because I narrated. I know everything he's talking about. But the TikTok thing happened right when the book was coming out. So it was the day that, when I say the TikTok thing, I mean the incident where we started blaming China for the TikTok problem, where it's really the problem was that they didn't want both sides of the aisle did not want our kids sharing about Israel. That was the problem. And they made it, so we saw that break. We covered it that day, like literally on the show as they came in, and we talked about TikTok for an hour and didn't plug the guy's book. And I felt really bad. That was last year that happened. So I remember that. And then when somebody's like, oh, Casey's worked with Brett, I was like, and then he brought up TikTok today. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to let that one slide because there's so much else, but we could have spent, so I already know the argument. The argument is China, 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 TikTok, 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 China, China, China.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay.
And the chat had it covered. We were
the chat had it covered. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. We love you.
Yeah, it was. We all know what was going on there, but it's just the hypocrisy there is just kind of irritating.
Yeah.
All right. This is 248. Pamela Drew on Rumble. An estimated over 940,000 people were killed by direct post 9/11 war violence in Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Yemen, and Pakistan between 2001 and 2023. I think it's actually higher than that, but I'm pretty sure it's in the millions. Like maybe I think it's almost 2 million, but I guess we can confirm 900,000. Of these, more than 432,000 were civilians. Yeah. So the point Pamela is making is that we're the guys doing all the war stuff. We're the ones doing all the killing. It's not Chinese Communist Party. They're not the ones invading countries. We're the ones who've been doing that. And we've been doing it openly for 25 years. And we've been doing it covertly for like another 30, 40 years before that. So that's what the rules-based order is bringing. We've kind of already gone over that.
Oh, I got to throw up a good job from Ava. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank
Ton
you.
of these, man. There's a lot of compliments paid your way.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Seriously.
There's a lot of them. You should read.
Oh, and another one from her with the Free Palestine. I think this is. I had to take a breather. I had to take a breather too, but I did it for you. I did it for you. Thank you, guys. Yeah, Free Palestine.
Absolutely.
Okay, here we go.
This was a good one. We really didn't get into imperialism and colonialism discussion with him, but I think it is tacks on to the other things we've been saying. Well, we have to stop pretending that some people are so great that other people should just obey them. And that's kind of a driving force of imperialism, which you kind of mentioned it once when you talked about capitalism and imperialism, these endless wars, which are needed to keep imperialism going. But the consequence of it is there's like a selected privileged group and everybody else has to pay for supporting that privileged group. And it just doesn't stop until it burns itself out or some other force rises bigger that can stop it.
Yeah.
So thank you for that
function. It includes, so capitalism its functionality is imperialism and colonialism. It's not
imperialism, colonialism is a function of capitalism.
Yeah, it's not a dysfunction, it's a function.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we're able to keep the petrodollar alive for decades and decades beyond its normal lifespan. It would have been done in the 70s, but then this was the point I could have made. We didn't have time.
Yeah, we didn't
too much. But
this is a whole paradigm shifting conversation.
A whole other thing. Nixon and Kissinger going to Saudi Arabia, doing a deal with them in secret, saying you're going to be our muscle, you're going to police the world on behalf of us, forcing the petrodollar down the throats of every effing country for oil trade. And if they resist, we're going to go in and kill them, and you're going to back us up. That's what we did, and we killed them all. How do we kill them? So I didn't even. If I went into that, do you think he would have? What do you think he would have said? What would Casey Fleming said about why we actually killed Saddam? What would he?
They would have started a big fight, I think,
yeah,
because this is part of the indoctrination process for guys like Casey, and like you don't even acknowledge that America is an imperialist nation.
Yeah,
it's not even part of your thing. We are a freedom lover. We love freedom and democracy, which when you start looking at what freedom and liberty and democracy are, and by definition, and then you look at how we operate, you don't see those things, but the rhetoric is there, and you're so programmed to love those things, yet you can't see that we don't do those things here. You believe that that's what we are, so of course that's what we're doing, but it's not perfect. But when you're able to separate yourself, you can look at our government and you look at the definition and say, our government, we don't do those things that we say we do.
Yeah. And I was trying to hint at the part that when he kept saying, I have no horse in the game. I have no.
Yes, he does.
And it's like, well, not in a party, but you do in a system. Your horse is in the game of the system, so you can't. And what we're representing here is that we actually don't have a horse in that either. We have no horse in it. We're not representing communism either. We're not representing any ism, and that's what makes us be able to be in a position where we can have critical thinking about how all of these things work or don't work and why they don't work or work. So we know we can do that. You can't do that if you're tied to something at the hip, right? You're like tied. I can't let this go. And you claim to be, no horse in the game, but you do. It's the system you can't let go.
Yeah. So I am glad you actually avoided that subject with him, because it would have derailed the entire interview. Yeah. It's its whole discussion on its own. And
it went the way it went. I guess it was okay. Okay.
Well, when you're indoctrinated, it's like you can't. It's like it doesn't compute what you would be saying. The case you're presenting. So you kind of have to go into it. That's the only thing you're going to talk about.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Next one is Jay Scott at 251. He loves the idea of an electronic bill of rights. I think we all agreed on that. Absolutely. We must make sure that the right to decentralized digital identity is on there, as well as the right to control how our data is shared and monetize it ourselves when it is shared. I agree. I think and that was a point that he brought up. And I don't know if anybody disagrees with that. I mean, if you do, let us know in the comments. But
dude, I'm so glad he did, because it gave me something to feel like we could organically say, hey man, and he was calling me brother. I appreciate that. He said, hey brother, you know, yes, this was a thing we could agree on. And you know, that's all. So
it shows that we do have places of common interest. All right, D Stinks at 251 as well. So I love this comment. I just made my family listen through dinner because I was too captivated to turn it off. So I've been lurking the whole time. So they got to listen to your interview because he wouldn't shut it down. And these are people who might not have ever paid attention to the homeless left before, or discussions like this. And they probably, and you know what? Here's the thing. He left it on during dinner and his family didn't tell him to turn it off. Or if they did, he said no. And then they had to listen to it. But, you know, normally if it was something that they didn't want to hear, they'd say, hey, turn that crap off. Yeah. So thank you, D Stinks, for keeping this on. And I love that comment. I've got my mom to watch some things too. Like Scott Ritter did, like the no nuclear war thing. And that was 3 hours long and she watched the whole thing. So it's pretty cool when we can get other people exposed to stuff that's not the corporate news. So good job on you.
Awesome. Thanks, DS Tanks.
All right. We got Ardeen here it is. Ardeen W. I feel like he just hates communism and that's where it is. And the reason I wanted to highlight this one is it's baked, it's indoctrination. It's like, it's baked into him. And I'm sure he's lived with this his entire life. He's known for a fact his entire life. Communism is evil and is the problem. And that's been pretty much true for most Americans who have been born since the 1950s. And you see it through lots of people who, if they weren't being constantly bombarded with this anti-communism, communism is evil, communism is bad. And I'm not a communist. I'm just saying this is what you're pelted with your entire life. Every American knows that's true. And the only reason I don't feel that way anymore is because I kind of woke up and said, well, I want to, this thing that I hate, I want to learn why it's so bad and why I hate it.
Yeah. And is there another thing we could ask? Like, if the thing, why is it that when the thing we're in keeps failing us, we keep blaming it on something else? Yeah. Why do we keep blaming the thing? So when capitalism fails, we blame it on communism. When communism fails, we blame it on communism, even though we're the ones intercepting it and failing it. But so it's completely backwards. I'm like, so you're not going to take responsibility, even if this other thing sucks, it's awful. You're never going to acknowledge that the thing we're in is actually the thing that's failing, not something else.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a book. It's, to me, it became clear that it's a boogeyman that we blame for all the fails of our own society on.
Yeah.
And
then we don't have to, yeah.
And when you start learning about it from people who don't hate communism, you learn a lot of things that you're never going to learn from the people who do hate communism.
Yeah.
And
that's great.
And they love to do the body count. Well, look at all the people that have been killed under communism. And I tell you what, I will put up the body count of capitalism against communism any day of the week, because it's like 4 or 5 times as many.
Oh, that reminds me.
All wars are bankers' wars. Bankers are all about capitalism. All those wars you could put a body count for in the capitalism column.
Hey, real quick, I didn't get to throw this up. I had it ready in case, but there was no room for it with the discussion with him. But I just wanted to, if he was going to go down, he didn't really do anything with Iran. He was really focused on China. Shot. But I had this ready in case he was going to start saying we have to watch out for Iran. But he never did. So I had it ready. But if you guys can see, this is like, oh, so we're supposed to trust that Iran is the problem when every single war on here, every single, this is all manufactured consent of the American people. Every single one of these post World War II, we lied about every single thing on this list. They're all lies. They're all lies that we contrived, and we tried to fool people, and we were successful mostly at fooling people into these lies. And you're going to tell me that Iran we're telling the truth about Iran now, because that's real, but none of these other ones are. So.
Let's get to the last comment here. The commies shipped all the U.S. manufacturing overseas. The commies are keeping the U.S. minimum wage at $7.25 an hour. The commies force privatization for profit healthcare on the American people. It's the red tsunami. So yeah, everything that's bad about our country was done by the commies. The communists did it. No, the capitalists did it. It was the capitalists, and that's the point. Fred's being sarcastic. He's trying to make this point. The
You know,
capitalism is what has done all this stuff to us, not communism. So,
speaking of the book title, which he's referencing, that's the book title, The Red Tsunami, which isn't out yet, but we did promote the website, and I am interested, and I know you guys probably want to hear what it is. I'll read it for you guys. And
it will be popular because, like I said, like it's just baked into most Americans that communism is evil and is the bad guy. It's the real problem. They always blame the problems on the Democrats and call them communists, but the Democrats are neoliberals who are uber capitalists. So obviously these people are correct for not liking what the Democrats are, but then they go and blame communism. It's like, yes, the Democrats suck. They're terrible. You should not like the Democrats, but they're not communists. They're capitalists. They are like uber capitalists. They love capitalism so much that's why they suck.
I have a better. I was going to say we'll wait for your sequel, and I think I said the sequel, how to stop the Greater Israel Project. Now I'm thinking a better line would have been, well, we can't wait for your sequel, the blue and white tsunami.
The blue and red tsunami, more like it.
Well,
there's that blue and white one too.
That's what I'm saying. The blue and white tsunami is the greater is. Or you could just say the red, white, and blue tsunami and just put it all together.
I was thinking blue and red being Republicans and Democrats, but absolutely. Look, I mean, I think that we do agree that the leadership is the problem. The other thing he was warning us about, which we don't disagree with, is that a lot of this electronic surveillance is a massive problem. But this is, like Molly Littlebird said this in one of her comments, Snowden warned us about it. So we have known about this being a problem and about how our cell phones can track us through the metadata and all of that. And we've known for quite some time.
Yes. This comment from Jokers for You, because it was really great. Jokers for You did a bunch of good ones. I haven't found all of them yet.
There were a lot of comments, and I just couldn't.
This one's important because it gives that positive last. Let's just end with a high note here. Sounds like the guy can unite on having basic civil rights for all, which is good. Okay. Even if we disagree on how to achieve that. And that's, if there's one thing to take away from that, it's that. And that goes back to my original message, which is we go for understanding, right? We don't go, we have to be right and you're wrong. Let's find something to connect on, something to be right, that we can agree on and do something about it. Like make something happen from that. And so that's, I just wanted to end with that. Jayme, thanks for helping us shuffle all these today. It's very, even with the tech issue, I think we worked it out. So
one more good one from Eva Burke.
Okay.
This is I cannot discuss things with anyone here. Ever heard how politics are here in Portland? So Eva is in Portland. I love it here, but come on, Rumble. I come on Rumble to discuss virtually, at least. The discussion in the comments was, you can't talk to people around you about politics, especially in some of these locations like Portland. And you find it difficult to talk to people in LA, I'm sure, because everybody's.
Dude, this is why we do the show. We do the show because we can't talk to people. They don't want
right.
to go, how dare you? How dare you?
The importance of shows like this are existing is so that you know that you're not alone. There are people you could talk to about these things. And thank you for being here.
This sums up everything today. Thank you, Jokers for You. Can we just acknowledge how cool this channel is to have Matt and Les in the chat? It's unique and the best chat available anywhere. This deserves your support. Matt is very lucky with you, Les. Thank you so much, Jokers. And thank you, Leslie, for being on the ones and twos, where Jayme's usually on the ones and twos right now. And Jayme, thank you for being on the front side with us too. So everybody, this was a team effort, and it took a village to get this one done. Jay and Stephanie as well. So yeah, it was very cool today. Very cool. Jayme, CheeseSlice, thanks so much.
All right, thank you. Bye, everybody.